I would pick that for my alliance.
Yes, and I would pick these robots for the Red Alliance: Strike Zone, Robo Jackets, Megatron Oracles.
Yeah,
they're performing at a high level.
Yep. So they average 95, almost 96 points a match in the semifinal matchups here. Again, led by the two extremely powerful scores, 54-60 and 35-38. So the Strike Zone and Robo Jackets teams, and then 314 is really playing smart defense.
And here's the Blue Alliance: Gems, Goon Squad, and Lightning Robotics.
This is an interesting alliance. We're going to have a clash of styles here because this is a 3-robot all-out offensive style, and they're probably playing with each other better than we've seen most alliances go. So they're doing a great job of staying out of each other's way, of scoring in tight locations, without causing problems. And we saw that, especially 36-04, just very smart, picking the right places to go and score at the right times.
All right, strategy-wise, is the Red Alliance thinking right now, hey, how are we going to get to 105, 110 points? Or are they thinking, hey, we're going to bring more defense into this to bring them down a little bit?
It's the defense, and I think I would be worried for our Blue Alliance here. If they choose to go no defense, I'm worried by how much damage Strike Zone and Robo Jackets are going to do on the red side.
So far, it's a kind of a quiet start for the Red Alliance. Now, Sandstorm is over, and the hatch panels are going on, and we already see the Megatron Oracles robot going right into defensive mode, blocking the near rocket, and hoping that that will thwart any cargo balls going in there.
Yep, so that's what we're seeing. Again, they're just saying, hey, if you can't get this side of the rocket, you can't outscore us. And look at how fast the Red Alliance is scoring, right? They were battling through defense that whole time, but right now, Strike Zone's already scored, they've scored 4 hatch panels. Up at the top, the Robo Jackets have scored 4 as well, I believe.
We saw the Gems robot for the Blue Alliance get hung up on a ball. They had to kind of get pushed off to get their balance back, and now they're going to load a hatch panel up on the second level of their rocket.
And this is smart. 862 came over to play defense. I think if they just let them keep going, Red was going to run away with it. But now, that's some good defense by Lightning over there, trying to slow down, that Strike Zone robot, which would have completed the rocket no problem on their own if they weren't defended.
Yeah, it's a best 2 of 3 here in the championship match. And this is numero uno. We see a little bit of Blue Alliance defense. That's on the Strike Zone robot for the Red Alliance, and that's Lightning Robotics putting on the defense, and the 314 Megatron Oracles robot appears to be dead.
Yeah, I still can't tell, right? I mean, looking down at their driver station, they're not panicking, right? We see some movement now.
Yeah.
Their strategy is to sit there. And because if you sit there, you can't score hatch panels on that side of the rocket. If you can't put panels on that side of the rocket, it's hard to put cargo in.
Haven't seen a strategy like that so dedicated for so much time of a specific match. Now they're going to move.
Yep, maybe looking at end game, so they're maybe looking at trapping Lightning, not letting that Lightning robot get back onto the ramp. But if they're going to do that, they should start coming back themselves. I mean, if you want to try to do a trap in the end game, you want to be closer to your side of the field.
Right. And it's about time to climb. Our scores are going to be down. One Blue Alliance robot making the climb. Looks like that's Goon Squad. And another Blue Alliance. Now Red Alliance trying to get their robots up. They tried to get a higher climb. They couldn't. Looks like this Blue Alliance is going to have a win if the unofficial score stands.
Yeah, 54-60 was trying to climb to level 2. They didn't quite have enough time. And again, I gotta question 314. They tried to play the trap, but if you're going to trap somebody in the end game and then race them to a platform, you got to do it so you're closer, right? You can't have a fair race there. And they did it on the other side of the field. They had to release early. Both robots made it back, so kind of no effect there. And with the defense of 862 coming back, I'm not sure if 314 can afford to just sit there and take away half the rocket like they were doing in that match.
Well, our scoreboard is going to be very interesting to look at. I'm not sure. We're going to have a tie.
It is a tie.
A tie at 99 points.
So, here's the thing with the tie. I did tell you there are no ties because there are tiebreakers. But, yep, in the finals, we are going to have a tie. And actually, I think they were tied in every category anyway, so we would not be able to separate this with tiebreakers.
So if you have a tie, this match becomes meaningful, so it's a best of two, but if they split, what happens?
So it's still first to win 2 matches. Yeah. So 15 to 15, 24 to 24, 42 to 42, 18 to 18. That is,
there's no tiebreaker.
You can't tiebreak that. I mean, you could flip a coin, but we don't want a finals match decided by a coin flip. So, yep, it's not best 2 out of 3, I guess. We've been saying that because it's almost synonymous,
right.
But it's first to 2 wins.
Okay. Let's get back together in the pits and rejoin Chris.
Well, guys, this isn't the first time this has happened, a tie-breaking situation. This time, though, with no penalties, even Ethan and I are wondering exactly how this tiebreaker is going to be broken. So talk about a competitive way to start the final round. You are on the Blue Alliance, and how do you think that the tiebreaker is going to be broken?
I honestly have no idea. If we do the exact same thing, we're just going to tie again. I suspect it'll be up to one of the defenders getting penalized, or perhaps we'll try. I'm really not sure. This is a confusing one.
And you guys were actually behind at least very late in that match and then came back when they flashed up the final score. Was it the half climb that pulled you guys even?
Uh-huh. It had to have been the half climb that pulled us even, and the fact that we got a cargo at the last second as well. Our drive team has been absolutely ice cold this event. Everyone in the stands is screaming, cargo, cargo, and they need to keep doing panels, and they're the only ones who know that.
Well, we're hearing right now that it's going to remain a tie, so I think we might just be starting over from square one. You guys played a very good match, but what are the 1 or 2 small things that you need to do better to pull out a win?
Ooh, I think the only thing we could do better is perhaps get 862 to defend an extra cycle on 5460. That'd be the easiest way to win.
Well, this has been a lot of fun and certainly a harbinger of things to come in the final. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. This has been incredibly exciting.
Guys, you heard it here first. Incredibly exciting indeed.
Good stuff, Chris. Thank you. And here's our highlight package of a very well played and a tie in every sense of the word.
So that we saw them placing a null hatch or a hatch panel there where they could have had a starting hatch panel. So maybe a change in strategy for the starting configuration of the field. But again, we're seeing 35-38. The RoboJackets just absolutely putting those panels up really fast until the defense came over. And there's another one. 54-60 doing the same. Meanwhile, though, 314, they've committed to taking away half the rocket. I don't know if that's enough for them. I think they might have to move more next match, play a little bit more mobile defense. Because this Blue Alliance is finding enough other places to score, not counting, that side of the rocket. But, 35-38, doing a great job. Again, defense went on a strike zone, so the RoboJackets in red doing a good job of carrying the load for that offensive output. And making it back for a great level 3 climb, no problems. But here we see 54-60, just a little bit late, right? They're up, they need to lift the back one. They lifted at the last second, it's not soon enough. Or 36-04, no problem here. And that was good, too. You saw both of those level 1s just before the buzzer. They're using the full 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Any strategical changes for the next match?
I think, actually, our Blue Alliance caught them off guard. I don't think that our Red Alliance from Dow was going into that match expecting defense at all, especially not that early. And so what we saw, again, was a ton of hatch panels, not enough cargo in those locations. So I'd like to see the Red Alliance make 2 changes. Number 1, score cargo a little bit earlier so you don't have a bunch of empty hatch panels scored. And number 2, this robot right here, 314, they took away half a rocket. It's effective defense, but they need to do a little bit more. If they were out and mobile, if they could have slowed the other alliance down, stopped one more score, that would have turned the match.
So do a little bit more, you mean by playing better defense?
Yeah, I think they need to, instead of just parking and blocking that side of the rocket, I think they have to trust themselves more, and they have to play that choke point between the rocket and the cargo ship. They need to be willing to move back and forth. Now, focus on getting back to the rocket, right? It's sort of like when you're defending somebody, say in basketball, and you know they're weaker on their left hand, right? You force them to the left, but you're not going to just let them go left, right, with no defense. So you're going to cheat that way. I think cheat towards the rocket, but don't give the cargo ship away for free. Still try to get some shots in.
Good insight, and we'll go down backstairs and reconnect with Chris.
All right, fellas, thank you very much. We're joined by Nolan now from Strikeforce 5460. He was on the other side of that 99-99 tie. What surprised you about the first round of the finals?
Well, I didn't think it was going to be a tie. I really, like, at the end of the match, I counted all of it up. I saw that we had the exact same amount of hatch panels and cargo. The only thing I was wondering was penalties and climbing points.
There were no penalties, of course. Have you ever been in a match that was a dead even tie and then there were no penalties to even break the tie?
I have not.
So what do you think that means going forward into the next round of the finals? Do you have to change anything about what you did?
I think we're probably going to change our defense strategy a little bit.
To do what?
We're going to try and stop them from getting more cargo, let them do hatch panels more, and let them do less cargo because cargo's worth more points.
Well, this has been a lot of fun to watch for us, and I hope you're having fun competing in it. Thanks very much. Yep. That's Nolan, guys. Back to you.
All right, well, we heard their strategy firsthand.
Yeah, and what Nolan said is more or less what I'm asking them to do. 314. Again, if you get beat for a hatch panel, what they're saying is that's better than getting beat for a cargo ball. So be a little bit more mobile on defense. And then, you know, they are aware of the value of the cargo ball versus the hatch panel. So, again, I'm still hoping on offense that we see a few more cargo being scored instead of all hatch panels first. Sort of weave it together, right? Put a couple hatch panels on, put a couple cargo in.
So after a 100%, no doubt about it, tie, there were no tie breakers that could even unbreak the tie. So we're going to have, well, I guess it's the first to win two.
Yep, so it's kind of like
three,
match one again, right? Which we're used to, right? We had that with the replay in the semifinals, too.
Now, the equipment that they use to control these machines, you know, if you're gaming at home, and we don't know what your gaming habits are, you don't know mine, but that I don't think I've seen that kind of a gaming device before.
No, and teams are going to make their own choice. So you can see a laptop on the side. That's kind of a heads-up display. You're going to get data from that about the robot, camera feed. That kind of stuff is coming in. Another great camera feed here. They actually bring a second monitor so it's easier to see. And then we saw some flight sticks on the first team over there and some game pads here as we come across. That's an Xbox controller. And you can choose whatever you want. If it's a USB device that plugs into a computer, you can use it to control your robot. So it really comes down to driver preference. Some drivers like the feel of the big, you know, kind of flight joysticks there that we're taking a look at. But, you know, his co-driver maybe likes the gamepad better.
I've never seen a flight joystick like that. Where does that get used in, like, real life?
You'll see that for, like, computer games, flight simulators,
okay.
you know, those types of games.
Those are the big boys on the block. Now, here we go. Sandstorm underway.
And I'm seeing a problem with 5460 in the Sandstorm. They're normally much, much faster out to place a hatch panel, and they looked lost that match. So I don't know if there was a camera issue or they just got turned around and couldn't see what was going on.
They're going to unload their hatch panel and get points there. Red Alliance, look at that robot. Megatron Oracles, same strategy, same spot. Maybe the question for this time is how long for?
Yep. This is good already there. Well, you know, it looked like they came out to try to trap there, but they weren't able to get a whole lot done. And just the way that robot is moving backwards and forwards, you know, I wonder if there's some damage to that drivetrain. Maybe they don't trust it to go out and play defense on the field.
Blue Alliance maybe, again, taking advantage. Although they really wasn't a big advantage at all last time. We see the 862 robot, Lightning Robotics, putting some contact on strike zone for the Red Alliance.
Yeah, and we're seeing that defense coming back again. It's coming back early, and it's having an effect. But strike zone, going for a cargo ball this time instead of trying to completely finish the hatch panels. And that's what we wanted to see. And now 314 getting a little bit more ambitious here. They're back out into that choke point, trying to defend more of the rocket.
and still holding on to a cargo ball as the Blue Alliance works on their rocket on the far side. And they've done a good job loading up their cargo ship in the middle. Right now it's the Blue Alliance with a little bit of an advantage.
Good hit on 54-62 as they were going to score. And really 862 is playing great defense. Just absolutely, like they have them trapped in there. They scored that cargo ball, but I think it took them 30 seconds.
And again, it's the Blue Alliance working on that one cargo rocket, or that one rocket. They've left the other rocket virtually untouched except for 2 cargo balls. Now we're getting into the climb. And the Blue Alliance has a 10-point lead, so Red's got to make something good happen here.
Yeah, if both sides make their climbs, I don't think Red can come back. We'll see. Even if 54-60, even if Strike Zone gets up to the second level, it's not going to be enough.
So this is maybe the most one-sided match we've seen really all afternoon. This is a 26-point lead right now for the Blue Alliance unofficially.
Yeah, and just looking at the field, right, we see a completed rocket for Blue. Red's rocket, it's only 2/3 done. The rockets on the near side of the field are just about equal. Cargo ships are just about equal. I think Blue ran away with this one.
And it's a Blue Alliance win. No ties to worry about this time for Lightning Robotics, Goon Squad, or the Gems. And that's the Gems robot being taken off. As we take a look at the final score. Some penalty points come into play to help the Red Alliance cause, but
yeah, so 101-93 the final for the Blue Alliance. And you could see it. I mean, it was in those cargo points giving them the edge. Obviously some extra hatch panels for the Red Alliance, keeping it a little bit closer. We went even on the climbs. Now remember, 54-60 missed their level 2 climb, so they should have gotten 3 more points there. And you know, when you're up 4 points in hatch panels but down 12 points in cargo, that means you're scoring too many hatch panels and not enough cargo. So I want to see them go again to those cargo balls a little bit sooner. And I think that the question is 862 playing man defense? Are they going to follow 54-60 around the field, or are they playing defense on that side? But I think it might be interesting to have the robots maybe even move around. Maybe have 54-60 go to the other side of the field and score for a bit.
Let's go downstairs and reconnect with Chris.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We're joined by Kristen now from the winning Alliance. And after a tie the first time around, you came out and you thumped the Red Alliance pretty good. What do you think were the keys to that convincing win?
We were able to play defense and really stop the scoring ability of Strike Zone.
Your robot specifically, 862, was the robot involved on the defensive attack. Has that always been your robot's main objective, even at other competitions?
This is the first time a robot has actually ever played defense, so it was a lot of fun and something new that we can do now.
So what are the main changes then? How does that shift your approach and your tactics when you are playing defense?
We really have to focus on not letting them collect game pieces and not letting them then put them in the rocket or the cargo ship. And usually when we're scoring, we don't pay attention to anything like that.
Well, you did a great job of that against a very good offensive robot. It seemed like you knocked that Red Alliance robot off its game a little bit. And is the key to just kind of get in the way?
Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty cool. And what do you think the key is going into the potentially winning championship match?
We're going to keep the strategy the same, and it worked in the previous match, so hopefully it'll work again.
Okay, Kristen, congratulations. Great job.
Thank you.
Guys, she's all yours.
Thank you, Kristen. As we continue and look at the highlights, this one a comfortable Blue Alliance win.
Yeah, take a look at, well, that was Strike Zone there, not getting their hatch panel scored at the beginning of that match in Sandstorm, which we expect from them. So a little bit of an issue there. Good scoring here by 862. And this is a good look at the Blue Alliance. 314 defending the one spot they want to defend. And these three blue robots are just moving around, never getting in each other's way. Now 862 here got turned around a little bit, but then proceeded to trap Strike Zone in there for a long period of time. And 3604 is just super smart with where they go with the ball. our teammates in one spot, they're going somewhere else. And here's that defense, that kind of trapping, knocking the ball free when it comes out, and knowing that strike zone has to back up a little bit to get lined up, waiting for them to back up, and then getting in between. Meanwhile, like that far side, Blue just slowly scoring, just filling up the rocket, filling up the cargo ship. And defense can be on the way in or the way out there, right? So we saw 862 saying, okay, you got past me, you scored, now try to get back and get another game piece. 35-38, though, very consistent on this climb. I don't think they've missed one all event long.
Yeah, that design of that robot really helps that climb, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they spent a lot of time, fixing that, figuring it out. And we heard from them earlier about all of their driver practice, and they've just been executing that, perfectly every time they go for it.
So we had a tie. We had a Blue Alliance win.
Yep, both pretty close, though, right? 99-9. Obviously, the tie was close, but the win was still only 8 points, 101-93.
Let's bring back Chris from the pits.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Joined by Josh here from the Red Alliance, Team 5460. Now, your back's up against it going into the second round of the final. You know you need a win. How do you think you're going to alter your strategy?
Yeah, so we struggled a little bit going to those matches. The Gems 43-62, they're really worthy opponents, and we've changed up a couple of things to help us maybe combat that a little bit. They're really good, and we're hoping that maybe we can get a win going into this second match.
You've got a fantastic design to your robot, the way you're able to pick up hatch panels without really centering yourself up against the receptacle. Who designed that?
So we all collectively worked as a group. We automated limelights into our design so that we could have the robot automatically line up to pick up hatches. This helps cut down cycle times tremendously.
It's been a lot of fun to watch. Good luck tying the score in the second round of the championship.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Josh from Team 5460, and certainly a lot of drama here as we're looking for perhaps a tiebreaker in the championship round.
Yeah, the Strike Zone team trying to rally Megatron Oracles and Robo Jackets. Do or die time for them.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I was just watching 314 down behind the field prepping the robot. They had some cans of compressed air, and if you flip those over when you spray them, kind of freezing spray comes out. They were using that on their drive motors to try to get them cooled down. I mean, we still want to see that robot be a little bit more active. I think they can't afford to sit next to the rocket for such a long period of the match and still be able to, come back and win it. So still can't tell, right, if there's anything wrong with that drive. They weren't in there with tools trying to take anything apart. So it still might be a conscious strategy decision to have them sit there. And hopefully that's the thing that, we were hearing about in the interview that they're going to change. And again, I'm just to reiterate, I want to see 5460 maybe try to move away from 862. One of the things that you don't notice in this game is sight lines can change. So if you're defending on one side of the field and your driver station's on that side, it's much easier to see and control what you're trying to do with your robot. If then you switch to the other side of the field as the offensive robot and they chase you, they might be chasing you into the side of the field they can see worse at.
All right, now we're watching them set up the field, and the red cargo ship in the middle still has those two cargo balls.
Yep.
Those are going to be removed, right?
So those balls will start there. On the middle of the cargo ship, you can either start with one of those, what we call null hatch panels. Those hatch panels, they've got white tape on them to designate that they are null panels. Those panels do not count for points. But if you don't want to start with a null hatch panel, you can start with a cargo ball in there. Now, there are metal tip trays in there, so at the end of Sandstorm, those trays will tip down and the balls will fall out. The benefit is, if you can put a regular panel on that during Sandstorm, you get credit for the 2 points on the panel and 3 points for the cargo ball that's already there, so it's almost like a free cycle, a free score for you. I think Strike Zone was going for that last match when things went awry and they weren't able to score it.
Here's a reset on the teams. Again, Strike Zone, Robo Jackets, Megatron Oracles for the Red Alliance. Here's your Blue Alliance. Looking relaxed and comfortable. Lightning Robotics, Goon Squad, and Gems. It's nice to see the competition level as high as it is.
Yeah,
you know, I would say that we've seen pretty much every robot across the board, you know, perform at a very high level. Strategies might be a little bit off, but the robots have at least performed well.
That's one of the great things about the state championship and the way it's set up. So it is a qualification event. You have to earn your way here. And so early weeks in the season, maybe a week 1 district event, you're not going to see this level of play. You're going to see some robots that break down on the field a lot, or that maybe can only score a couple game pieces, you know, for the entire duration of the match. And that's what makes this event so exciting, is that we have the best of the best here. They're all capable of scoring a ton of points. A team like 314 spent the entire season playing offense. But, you know, there's so many great offensive robots here, and that alliance needed a defender. They've switched roles.
If you're Red Alliance and you're thinking about how you're going to deploy Megatron Oracles in a different way, you know, sometimes you can overthink things. You know, gosh, they performed fairly well, except for the, you know, there's such a small line of, you know, such a small difference in terms of what their, you know, what their total offense has been. You know, there's maybe a tendency to make a change that's too big, just because you're trying to, you know, give yourself a chance to go to the, you know, to continue the whole match.
Yeah, and they're different robots, but, you know, take a look at the defense 862 is playing compared to the defense that 314 is playing. And I think it's pretty clear that 862 is kind of manhandling 5460, strike zone all over the place during the match, and having a much bigger impact. And I'd like to see 314 take on more of that role. The other thing that they could do too is they start with the ball, they can score that ball. So maybe leave them a spot. Right. And at the end of the match, instead of doing, you know, that late defense where they're trying to trap stuff, score that ball on their way back to the, you know, to the level 1 half for those end game points.
Yeah, a cargo ball is only worth anything if it's put somewhere.
Yeah, and it's such an advantage to start with it in your robot, but last match, it never left the robot, right? So strike zone, maybe leave one spot in the cargo ship open, score in other places, and 314 on your way back, drop it off. You know, they're only going to need an extra maybe 5 seconds to do that.
Thumbs up, and it's go time here. Blue Alliance can win with a victory in this match. And Red Alliance has got to find a way to get ahead on the scoreboard and stay there, or else this will be over.
Much better autonomous out of the Red Alliance, or Sandstorm mode. 35-38 did trap one of those cargo balls in the side. They're going to get double credit for that, essentially, scoring 5 points for the cargo and the hatch panel.
314 playing defense. Stationary defense, not quite yet. They're a little bit more mobile.
That's it, right? Trap them there. Don't make it easy. What, that was 6 seconds maybe that they held them up. If they can do that every time that robot comes in to score, it's going to make a huge difference. Also, don't let lightning through right here. 314, if they stop 862, that's free scoring time for 5460 on the other side of the field. So they protected them there for an extra, say, 2 scores.
Lightning Robotics with no cargo ball to deposit. So kind of a standoff there against the Megatron Oracles.
And this is much better for Red. They've got sort of their gameplay established. Still don't have a defender over there. 862 is still thinking about, you know, getting 314 out of the way, because 314 now is playing great defense. And in the absence of that, like 5460 and 35-38 are just going nuts with the scoring. They're up 14 points already.
Good mobility there for Blue Alliance, but they've got a ways to go on the scoreboard, as Red Alliance has got a 20-point lead here. Still lots of time. And we still see Megatron Oracles in defense mode Blue trying to mix it up a little bit.
For sure. 54-62 strike zone doing the smart thing. They scored 2 hatch panels, put the cargo in. Scored 2 hatch panels. Now I want to see them go for a cargo. And they are, right? So they're trying to maximize those points. They're making good adjustments. 314 as well. Look at how empty this near side rocket is. They've actually been defending both sides of the rocket this match.
So a strategic switch is paying off for the Red Alliance. Now it's time to get into the climb, and the Blue Alliance is way down on points. And let's see if the Red Alliance can get all 3 robots in position. Looks like Megatron Oracles is going to give up and go right for the climb.
Oh, they're up.
Wow.
They coasted up, so they actually made it on top of level 1 after the match ended. That's okay. If things are moving, the referees will wait until up to 5 seconds after the end of the match to score it. So they waited till the very last second to get back and get up. But actually, based on the way that match went, I don't think it mattered. They were up by so much.
Unofficially, Dan, this might be our most one-sided win in any match so far today.
Yeah, I think so. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying. 862 was trying to play defense. This time 314 doing a good job of slowing them down, not letting them get over to start the defense. And 54-60 and 35-38 had more or less a practice match, situation for the first minute of this match. And they can both score a ton of points if you let them do that.
Red Alliance takes off. They are going to force a third and deciding championship match here in this championship.
Yeah, so good adjustments again. I mean, I like the way Red was playing. I like 314, a much bigger contribution. And I think that, they did a good job of not making it necessarily obvious that they were stopping 862 from coming over to defense. And so they might be able to trap them again.
Look at the swing in cargo points.
Yep.
Wow.
And hatch panels, so 10 points in hatch panels, 21 points in cargo. They picked up some penalty points. I think one of that was for a pin, or 3 of those points were for a pin. I'm not sure what the other 6 were for. But that's the thing. Like, if these 2 alliances, if you go all alliance versus all offense versus all offense, I think Red's going to win the majority of those matches. So 862 needs to find a way through. If 314 is defending, this near side of the field, maybe 862 should look to cross on the top side of the field and then come down and play defense. But they can't afford to be, trapped out for that long.
It was a match the Red Alliance had to have. They got it. And they are still competing and still battling here.
This is that Sandstorm mode. We saw a score again by 54-60, everything working, and here's where 314 is locking down that entire side this time instead of just the rocket. And here's 35-38. That was a little sketchy, but it counts.
So it wasn't a big defensive adjustment, but just a little bit was enough to make a big swing.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a couple of moments where 862 could have crossed the field. We saw some indecision from them. And I want to see them thinking defense first next match.
See Goon Squad there loading that mid-cargo ship.
Yep, and again in the middle. A little bit of a miss there. So at that point in the match, they knew they were behind by a lot, and that might have been some rushing by the driver.
What is Blue Alliance thinking about right now, strategy-wise?
I mean, I think they have to look at the difference between match 1 and match 2. Well, match 2 and match 3, right? Match 1 was the tie. Match 2, 862 got across the field early, shut down 54-60, shut down strike zone. In the second match, 862 Lightning not able to get across the field, and strike zone just went nuts with the points. They need to focus on getting their defender in position as soon as possible in the match.
Here we go, one more time with Chris Fosters.
Thanks, guys. I'm joined by Nate from 35-38 on that winning Red Alliance that has forced a winner-take-all match in the championship round. High-stakes environment, Nate. Congratulations on pulling it out. And you were telling me that your alliance changed its strategy from match 1 to match 2. What did you guys do differently?
So one of the big things that we changed is we had 54-60 end up. So what they did was they placed 2 hatches on the rocket instead of 4. So they were able to open up more scoring locations for themselves. And then we hatched off the front of the cargo ship, which allowed 54-60 to put balls in there. So basically we just opened as many scoring locations as possible and fill them as quick as we could before opening up more.
And that seemed to be reflected if you look at the box score in the cargo category. You put up over 50 cargo points.
Yep. Yeah, we got a lot of cargo that match. So it was really nice.
A ton. And now, did you get the sense that you caught the other alliance off guard by your change in strategy?
Yeah, I did, because they were like, at the end of that match, they were always like, once we had 4 hatches up, they would always come across. In that match, they didn't, because we only did 2, and then we did 2 balls. So I think we threw them off guard by doing that.
So what do you think you do differently now going into the 3rd match? Do you think you'll change your strategy again?
I mean, if it's broke, don't fix it. I'll probably do the same thing again.
I like the way you think. Congratulations. Good luck in that 3rd round.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's Nate from 35-38. We'll revisit with you in a little bit.
All right. And some final tweaks going on as we will come back with our final match of the afternoon. We will crown a champion when we come back to Saginaw Valley State.
Infinity. Empower the drive.
Greatness comes from having a dream. And then going big. Go even bigger. The all-new Livewire.
The Ryder Center is rocking. We are ready for the final match of the day to determine the 2019 Michigan First Robotics State Champion. Ethan is in the field, and we've talked to you a couple of times already today, and I wanted to bring you back on because after the first match of the final, which essentially didn't count because it was a 99-99 tie, you told me that your alliance competed a perfect match just to tie the other alliance. Well, now here after the most recent match, you guys thumped them and put up 113 points, so was that even more perfect than the first match?
The first match, we tied them 99-99 because they were playing a strategy in which they blocked in front of a rocket and completely knocked out 6 scoring locations. When they played that strategy again the next time, we played 3 offense for the beginning instead of defending the entire time, which gave us more margin, thankfully.
And so what do you think you're going to do in the winner-take-all match?
In the winner-take-all match, I imagine we'll do the same thing and try and execute better. We had some failures to rotate appropriately in the last match and got hung up on the defense a lot, but I think if we can avoid that, we should see something similarly to the second match.
How do you think you get around the defense?
For us, it's often as simple as shoving them out of the way. Everyone on our team has pretty solid drivetrains, so we should be able to just push them out of the way and score.
Okay, Ethan of Team 4362, we really appreciate it, and good luck.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, and now for the call of the championship match. Once again, back up to Dan and Dan.
All right, good confidence. You got to have that now. If you don't trust your game plan, you don't trust your robots, well, you're in trouble.
Yep, for sure. I think he was talking a little bit about, the mistakes they made in the last match with it, when he said rotations, right? 862 needs to rotate to defense. That's what missed. 862 kind of got held up on the defense of 314, got to the middle of the field, couldn't decide what they wanted to do. They need to just go hit somebody at that point. You can't leave 5460 alone for that long in the match. And, from the other interview, too, knowing that 5460 or that Red Alliance realizes the fact that the defense is coming and that they started scoring cargo balls sooner, right? Putting up the hatch panels, then the cargo balls, then the hatch panels, then the cargo balls. They're sort of maximizing the score that they have before the defense arrives as well.
So we are locked and loaded for a best of 1. Here it is, last go-around for these two alliances. Red Alliance with the Strike Zone, the Robo Jackets, and the Megatron Oracles. Megatron's defensive change in strategy was the swing that they needed last match. Will Blue Alliance have a counterpunch? We'll find out. Here's what they have. The Gems, the Goon Squad, and the Lightning Robotics.
Yep, so in Sandstorm, again, we want to watch 35-38. They're going to be going for that side of the cargo ship hatch panel to trap one of the cargo balls in place. If they hit that, that's good. That's going to make a big, or kind of give them a big head start in this match. Let's also watch 5460's autonomous. They're going to try to come out and put a hatch panel on the bottom of the rocket and hopefully make it back to pick up a second one. Then the next thing we want to watch for is after kind of 1 or 2 rotations of scoring, 862 needs to make the transition to defense. We want to see if they get held up or if they can get clean through and start shutting somebody down on the Red Alliance.
A lot of anxious moments right now as everybody kind of resets, recalibrates, and we'll see what we get out of these teams.
And so teams in here, you might see some thumbs down. They're essentially waiting for their cameras to boot up and connect. Sometimes they're temperamental getting them started here at the beginning, so the field crew is going to give them time to get that connected. We can see that there is a camera live action picture there, so they are ready for this match.
So Goon Squad loading up the cargo ball in the cargo ship for the Blue Alliance.
Yep, and both red robots accomplished their Sandstorm tasks. 35-38, already out with the second hatch panel, as is 5460. So a perfect start to the match for red.
Megatron Oracles defending the near rocket.
And they're in that higher posture again, which is what we wanted to see. 3604 trying to get through, but they couldn't, so they gave up and scored somewhere else, which is smart.
Eventually, they've got to crack that defense,
Watch
though.
862. They need to be crossing the field now, and they are.
So there's a little contact there. So our defense is percolating just a bit.
That was smart. 862 knew that they didn't want to have to fight 314 to get on the defensive side of the field, so they crossed on the other side. And that saved them a ton of time. Now it's going to be a battle again. Can 5460 score through the defense?
Strike Zone having some challenges with the Goon Squad Blue Alliance robot. But a nice maneuver. Oh, they lost the cargo ball, though. So they have to
862
wait.
not moving. They're disconnected. 862 has dropped connection, but it's back, so they were only out for a few seconds.
Yeah, we lost. Losing time means you're losing points.
I would say that gave 5460 kind of that one free score. That's not going to end the match, though. They can still hold on to this one.
Megatron Oracle still in that choke point there, waiting to put some aggressive defense in place. Very close on the scoreboard, though. Lots of time left. Blue Alliance working on that far rocket, putting up the hatch panels. And we see the GEMS robot gobbling up another cargo ball and actually mishandling it.
And a miss from 5460.
So this is
35-38, almost going over, but they saved themselves.
I'm going to say this is not going to be a perfectly played match, but at this point, it doesn't really matter about perfection. You just got to grind this one out.
Okay, and the defense has left now. Everybody's heading back for endgame, so a couple of quick scores for the Red Alliance, and now they're going to climb, and it is tied on the real-time score.
Megatron Oracles hasn't made their climb effort yet. See if they can speed it up and get up there. They did, and it looks like we're going to have
862 going for level 2, not making it. 5460 not making it. So endgame looks to be a wash. I think red was slightly ahead, right?
Red Alliance has a 12-point lead unofficially. And everyone holding their breath now, waiting for the final numbers to be tabulated. And that 862 robot, the Lightning Robotics, they needed a successful climb to tweak a few more points.
So it's hard to tell from here. We can't see the ends of the cargo ships to know what is scored in them. But the points that I could see are very close. I think it was a 2-point difference in the points that I could see.
So the defensive strategy that the Red Alliance employed in these last 2 matches made a big difference.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, just looking at even that last match, what was scored on this side of the field. There was one cargo ball in the cargo ship. There were 2 panels down low, and I think maybe 2 cargo balls down low. And that was it. Nothing else on this side. So they almost shut down an entire side of the field. Now the other side, yeah, was more or less fully scored.
There's a whole bunch of officials huddled around that table.
Yep, so they are...
What do you think's happening?
They are talking to the scorekeeper. So the scorekeeper sitting at the table there, that's the person who actually inputs the final scores. Usually if they're talking to the scorekeeper, it's because they have to make an adjustment to the scores in the system before posting it.
And whoever wins is going to be going home with a state championship. And I don't know if it's possible we'll have another dead-on tie, but anything goes.
It's possible, but should be unlikely. Like I said, endgame was even. The points that we could see from up here were within 2 points of each other. And if what is scored on the ends of these cargo ships cancel out those 2 points, it could be another tie. And in that case, if it were another tie, I think it would have to be a tie in Sandstorm. It would have to be a tie in Endgame. I think it would also have to be a tie in hatch panels and cargo. So if there is a tie, I think it would be a full tie.
Which we've had before.
Which we've had before. But now the referees are looking at what I assume is the rules on, a tablet there. So if they're looking at the rules, that means they want to make sure that they've got the proper interpretation of a call. They want to make sure it's called correctly and nothing's missed. And that call very well would decide, the outcome of this match.
That's the Strike Zone robot, and we'll go downstairs and connect with Chris.
Yeah, so they're putting their heads together at the official scores table, guys. And look, the preliminary score that you see, that is finalized from the moment that the clock expires. But the judges were actually inputting some points for the Blue Alliance because of their hab climb into the official scoring mechanism even after the game clock expired on the match. So what we're looking at realistically is 12 more points for the Blue Alliance to make this match tied at 95-95. There were no penalties assessed, and so we could be looking at deja vu all over again with another tie that does not have a tiebreaker. And believe it or not, what they're discussing right now is the possibility of replaying this match again because of another true tie. And I'll keep you posted if I hear anything else.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Does make sense, the response. We saw some smiles over there after they made their final adjustments, and kind of like haha, this is pretty funny if this happens again. So could definitely come out to a tie here. I know we're not supposed to have to play this many matches, so the system may actually not be able to handle another match. And I think they might actually be conferring again, how do they want us to technically play the last match?
Well, what do you mean the system can't handle? What does that mean?
So essentially, the program that they're running has a certain number of slots for each matchup, and you play a match and it fills that slot. Well, we already had one tie, and I think they might not have expected a situation where you could have 2 ties. So if they fill up the 4 open spots to play a match in and put scores in, now we got to figure out how to play the last match. Now, they can either replay a match, they can go back to one of those 4 and play over it, or they could play what we would call a test match, where they just put the team numbers in and let them play the match. But they want to make sure that it is going to then populate through the system so that we get a true winner posted to the internet and the database and everything like that. So what likely will happen in that event is they would replay the very last match, and it would get that this potential tie that we're looking at right now would get wiped out. We would replay that match, as our 5th match, but 4th match in the system records.
So is it like a scoreboard that doesn't recognize overtime?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Well, it recognized the first overtime. It
But
can't
not-
handle
right,
second
not a
overtime.
second
Not,
OT.
no double OT.
Right. And, you know, no one's leaving. I mean, they
Nope.
want to see how this is going to play out.
It's not often you get a 5-match best-of-3 semifinals.
No, that's a new one.
Okay, so something I just saw, the lead FTA on the field has just left the field.
FTA stands for?
First technical advisor. So he's the main guy in charge of this stuff. He just left the field and went outside. And I think the reason why something like that would happen is that he is making a phone call.
And who's he calling?
He would be calling first
Got
headquarters.
some smart people there in New England.
Not that it matters to anyone that's viewing, but there is bad cell reception in here. That's why he's
Yep,
outside.
Exactly.
So let's do our highlight reel and see how this potential tie came into being.
That's that Sandstorm. We saw 35-38 on the top of the screen, scoring a hatch panel, and then making use of this sort of undefended time at the beginning of the match. And there's that 314 high defense. Blocking them out, good decision to just give up on that, score somewhere else for now, worry about it later. 35-38 again scoring, and I think we can just barely see in the back, that's the 862 robot crossing away from 314, taking the open lane to get onto defense there. And that, I think, was what turned it back into a tie. Another good score. And 35-38 has been doing this all match long. You know, just working that side with no defense, putting up a ton of points.
So my thinking is this. It's pretty likely we're going to play another match.
And it's official now.
Right.
They just showed on the screen. It is a tie, 95-95. And it is a true tie. There can be no winner determined. Sandstorm, hatch panel, cargo, hab climb, and penalty points are all identical.
So by default, we have to play another match.
We have to play another match. And the question is just how we're going to do that, whether there is an issue with the system or not. Good look at the end game climb here. And
if this 862 robot gets up, Blue wins,
yep,
right?
Absolutely. And
Didn't
they
make
just
it.
ran out of time. And that was their choice because they were defending so late in the match. They could have left 5 seconds earlier and gotten those points. Same time on the other side of the field, 54-60 had an opportunity to climb to level 2 and could not execute on that either.
That is whack.
There we go. And the first tie was 99. This tie is 95 points. So in the same ballpark too.
And this is one of those things where, you know, we referenced this earlier. Are we really going to lose, you know, with having to play, you know, 5 matches, 2 of them dead even ties?
Yeah. I mean, this is an epic kind of back and forth matchup here. And the winner's going to feel great at the end of this. And the loser is yeah, it's rough to lose after you score these kind of points and get through this many matches. It seems like it's always something here at the state championship where we get a little bit of a delay while we figure something out, and maybe we can get some more information.
Let's get some clarity on all the rules that are in play here with Chris Foster's and one of the FTAs.
That's right. Don't ask me for clarification on that, guys. That's why I have Alex here, a first technical advisor. I know there was a lot of brain power that was being exchanged behind the scenes there as you guys figured out what to do in a situation that sounds like has never happened before, where we've had 2 matches end in ties in the final round. Is that correct?
Yeah, nothing like I've seen this before. We've never had to be able to go through all the tie-breaking criteria and have an absolute tie like we just did. So we just wanted to confirm with First HQ to make sure that everything was going to display properly and that we were going to be able to continue the tournament without compromising the rules and integrity of the game.
In talking to you, it sounded like you guys realized that this match was tied again pretty early in the process, and then that began another process in which you wanted to make sure that there were no software glitches or anything like that so that you didn't put up the incorrect result.
Yeah, so we just wanted to verify with First HQ that everything was going to go correctly and that when we posted on the screen, it didn't show the wrong team as winning, and making it so that there were early celebrations and having to tell people that, hey, we actually do have to go to another match in order to figure out who the winner is of the competition.
Now, did you talk to First headquarters directly?
Yes, so that's what I ran out there for, was just going to make sure that, talk to them on the phone and say, hey, this is the situation we're in. We just want to make sure that we're doing everything correctly and that we end up with the correct result at the end.
What did they say when you told them that you had your second tie of the championship round?
They were quite surprised. When I talked to them, they're like, this is something that we've never seen before. So they went through and made sure that it was going to show up how we did. And then after talking to them, we just went through the same process that they told us to go through.
Certainly another really interesting wrinkle to add to the history of First Robotics. And what do you think this says about just how evenly matched the two alliances are in this final?
So I think it's really great to see the two alliances that are evenly matched. It's really fun and bringing a lot of excitement to everyone here.
Certainly has, and the audience hasn't missed a beat. They're still rocking and rolling. So, Alex, thank you very much for the clarification.
Yeah, no problem.
Guys, hope that sheds some light on what went on behind the scenes. Back up to you.
All right, thank you, Chris. I'm sure that he was just validating what Chris was thinking should happen, right?
Yeah, no, Chris knew it all along. No doubt about that.
And
it's more or less what we were inferring from the Chris's eavesdropping or
right.
inside information there. We just, when weird things happen, you want to make sure that you know what's going to display on the audience screen, because the worst outcome there would have been if they had posted it, the system decided to pick a winner for some reason, and now they've got to go back and say, no, it was a tie. Forget what the screen showed. We have to play another match. So it's always easier to double check that before you post it.
So what are these teams doing now, knowing that they've got a fifth match, minute 20 or minute 40 left before we get the engines back on the field?
Yeah. So if they're smart, when they came off that field and the display or the score didn't come up right away, they should have been starting to reset their robots. So it's weird, it's unlikely, but at the same time, as a competitor, what can you do to give yourself an advantage? And that is be ready for the next match if it happens. And it looks like they've had enough time. We see actually still some battery changing going on, so maybe some of the robots not taking advantage of that time in the way that they should have. But when you've had matches like this, both sides have kind of come ahead a little bit, a lot of really close matches. I'm not sure how much you can change. I think if you're red, it's hard to move 314's defense to try to block 862 from getting over from the blue side to the red side for them to start playing defense. Because if they leave the area they're protecting, all of a sudden it gets filled up with cargo balls. Now, if you're the blue alliance, the key is 862 getting over there and getting in the way and messing up 54-60's day is what changes the score from 119 to 95 for the Red Alliance and brings it back into a match that you can win. So they've now figured out using that top channel is the great way to go to get across the field unimpeded and get on defense fast. So expect them to do that again. And look, it's one extra score. If somebody gets to level 2 in the end game, if somebody scores an extra ball or an extra hatch panel, you can win this match. So 5 matches deep on the 5th match here. I think it's almost like trust your drivers to execute a little bit better, because a big change at this point, and I don't see a big strategy change that's going to work out to your advantage.
And a successful climb by the Lightning Robotics robot in the last match would have made them champions.
Right. And again, or 54-60 strike zone in the same position and unable to climb as well.
Yeah, we are into some very fine details of scoring, competing, and winning.
Yeah, and I can tell you there is essentially no playbook for one of these matchups going to 5 matches. I think it happened to me in 2010. My alliance was playing against another great alliance, and we went 5 matches deep to decide that one as well. We had 2 ties. And really, when you hit that 5th match, it's like, it's so much back and forth, and it really just comes down to execution. And you have more of a chance of giving the match away if you try to get too fancy, if you try to do something you're not ready for.
And this is really kind of maybe where I'm thinking that mental strength and focus comes into play, because, you know, every match your adrenaline goes up, and then it comes down when you realize you're going to play another one. Up, down, up, down. And if you're joining us now, you're going to find out that the Strike Zone Robo Jackets and Megatron Oracles make up the Red Alliance. And the Blue Alliance, a worthy adversary indeed, with the Lightning Robotics, Goon Squad, and Gems.
Yep, we've played 4 matches. Match number 1, 99-99 tie. Match number 2, Blue wins 101-93. Match number 3, Red comes back, wins 119-79. And match number 4, the match we just watched, another tie, 95-95.
Separation just isn't there between these two teams, which is exactly what you want.
Definitely exciting matches.
So Dave Verbrugge, one of our good friends on a previous Michigan First Championship broadcast, is explaining to the entire group how this is has all come about.
Yeah. So essentially the way it works is you can have ties in the first matches, but if you get to that 4th match, which is supposed to end the tournament, right, one way or another, there are tiebreakers in play in the finals. There should have been a winner in that match if any of the tiebreakers could have decided it. But since none could, we have to play a 5th match. And he was actually saying, too, that the tiebreakers go beyond just that match. It was actually cumulative points across the entire series, and that was still tied.
So a fitting end. And we'll see what happens in this 5th and potentially final match.
35-38, a little slower, but still sink the hatch panel. 36-04, really struggling to score the cargo ball as well. So a little bit slower start for both sides, but not too bad. 314, though, is in a great position to defend 2 robots at once here.
Strike Zone drops a hatch panel on the ground and goes back and reloads for another one and plants that one successfully for the Red Alliance. 314, Megatron Oracles. You know where they're going to be.
Yep,
defense.
And there's 862. They placed a hatch panel across the field, and now they're on Strike Zone again. Strike Zone does get the hatch panel placed, though. That's not too bad.
Goon Squad working unimpeded in the middle, dropping a cargo ball in the cargo ship. And we've seen a change in strategy. Looks like Megatron Oracles is... Well, no, I guess he is planted right where he was.
Yep, right back at it. 862 right back at it. This is essentially a replay of the last match thus far. Blue off to a little bit better start here, though. Good move by 5460 to get through the defense, but now they've got to find a way to get to the cargo ship to score.
Blue Alliance packing in the cargo ship in the middle. Now some little bit more defense coming from the Red Alliance, courtesy of Strike Zone, as they bump with Lightning Robotics. Now Lightning Robotics is caught between 2 Red Alliance robots.
Yep, good move by Strike Zone there, switching low to the rocket ship to place that the side the defense wasn't on.
40 seconds left. It's a comfortable lead for Blue Alliance. Red's got some work to do.
Yep, 35-38, a little slow on scoring there. They're slightly behind on the rocket ship. Blue now, with that far rocket ship, a couple quick cargo point scores, and they've got what is turning into a decent lead.
Red Alliance is going to send Strike Zone into their climb. That's a successful climb. We'll see what Blue Alliance can do here, but it's Red Alliance that's got to make up some points. We see Megatron Oracles on their climb.
Yep, Robo Jackets late.
Robo Jackets late. They're going to get on there, but unofficially, it looks like it's Blue Alliance.
If 36-04 got up, and they did, this is definitely Blue Alliance favored right now. But on the red side, we do have 2 robots on level 2. They're going to pick up 6 extra points for that.
So 98-63 for Blue Alliance sounds great. However,
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think Red is going to have enough comeback in the end game. Blue, just looking at the field, they've got an extra on the top of that far side rocket. They've got an extra 10 points right there. They've got an extra 3 in the cargo ship, and the rest of it looks even. So with 6 points coming back to the Red Alliance, I think Blue still wins.
But the all-important final numbers must be tallied. We've already had 2 full-blown ties. This one is a Blue Alliance win. 98 points for the Blue Alliance.
And it is still pretty close.
Red Alliance had late points, but not enough to get over the top.
And again, all credit to 862. The matches that they found a way to the other side of the field is very good. And here we see, final score 98 Blue, 90 for Red. Red making up a lot of those points that we were talking about in the end game, but again, not enough. Not enough points to overcome that. Those cargo points really standing out there as the thing. Red had open spots where they could have still scored cargo. Blue did a pretty good job of filling everything up.
It seems pretty obvious, I guess, Dan, that pretty much anybody who won cargo points, that way, if you win in cargo points, you put yourself in a very good position to win overall.
Yeah, for sure. Cargo points, and that's what we talk about. You get points for hatch panels, but hatch panels enable the cargo scoring. So Blue did a good job of maximizing the few hatch panels they put on to get the most cargo points they could.